Hi, boys and girls. It's time for another Jeep Talk Show interview. We're going to be talking with Rob. Rob has been at Gazelle Tents for the past 7 years, serving as brand manager and director of marketing. A key leader at Artisam, the company behind Gazelle, Rob has helped grow the brand's reputation for innovation, pre-assembled hub tents, and portable gazebos that set up in under 90 seconds. Rob, why do women like gazebos so bad? I mean, so much. Is it novels? Those romance novels?
I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I think it's just getting out of the elements, having a little bit of a retreat from harsh winds and blazing.
They
sun,
like that.
so.
They like that geometric shape, though. So it's confusing to me. It's cool. I mean, I don't care. I just find it interesting.
I tell you, it really lends itself to conversations, right? I mean, getting a group together and talking around the fire and stuff. So, yeah, that's a big part of it.
All right, so Gazelle's rugged designs, especially the popular T3X and the T4 Overland models, are favorites among Jeep owners and Overlanders. They offer spacious interiors with stand-up headroom. I think that's important, too. You never like to have to crouch down, especially if you're 6 foot or over. Packed down, compact enough to fit in the back of a Wrangler and deliver fast, reliable shelter for everything from weekend car camping to serious off-road adventures. You can learn more about Gazelle Tents simply by going over to gazelletents.com. All right, Rob, you got a tent. I think everybody wants a tent. Some people like to have it attached to their Jeep, but that has a problem with storage. And you may want to use your like a Gladiator, for example. You might actually want to use it to carry something around in the bed of the truck. And this seems to be a way of having a place to stay. Which, how often do you have to have a place to stay? I mean, you get in trouble occasionally, and you have an option of the couch or the tent, right?
Right, exactly. Well, the big thing about it too is that you can set up your base camp, leave for the day, and not have to pack up your sleeping arrangements. You kind of stake your spot and get off to do what you went for in the first place. Mm-hmm. And the speed of execution of assembling it, that's the key to it all, because nobody goes out to set up a tent. No. That's the least favorite part of it,
especially if it's windy and rainy. And that can be quite cumbersome. What do you guys recommend if you are in a windy, rainy environment? I mean, you can be really sleepy, really tired from the long trip to getting there. Do you recommend not setting it up until maybe the weather gets a little better?
Well, I tell you what, it's fine if you have a couple people do it, so one person can hold it while the other one starts popping out the walls and stuff. But really, the biggest thing is that if you're setting up in windy, rainy conditions, check your location first, right? You don't want to set up in a low spot.
Yeah.
And then the second.
Are you feeling damp? Did you pee yourself? What's going on here?
And then the second part of it is if you stake off and tie off to the hubs, that's going to set your walls against the strongest winds. I mean, we've had them out at some Overland expos where the winds have reached excess of 55 miles an hour, and they've done just fine.
I was going to ask you about that high wind situations.
Yeah, this was originally developed by Artisam in the hunting and ice fishing divisions, and so they're meant to take a lot of the elements, right? So we saw people actually camping and sleeping in our ice fishing shelters or in our hunting glides, and we just said that's a terrible idea. So we developed a camping line to kind of get the features to match the product that people are using it for.
Now, I'm a Texan. I've been in Texas all my life. I've seen snow a few times being down here in Southeast Texas, the general Houston area. And I got to say, I am fascinated about the ice hole where you cut the hole in the ice and you're camping on it. And then some of these people have houses that they drag out there. And I think the whole idea is just so cool where you got nothing to do. Now, with Starlink, you could have internet now. But maybe they want to get away from that too. But I think that is so cool. So you actually have tents that people can do the same thing, which is a lot easier than dragging a house.
Right. You can go out on the ice and ice fish, and camp in the same tent you're fishing out of. So those are definitely specifically designed for ice fishing. Though I wouldn't camp in the summer in them. You might get a little warm and all, and because they're insulated, they tend to take on some water.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's cool that it's insulated, so you can have, and I would assume you can have a fire or something that would generate heat inside the tent.
Generally what some people do, because there's no floor in our ice shelters, they'll run a diesel heater or some venting through to get some heat in. But then, up here, they're pretty rugged, so they kind of enjoy that cold.
Yep. So why the gazebo style? Why the multiple angles? Is that just to be a little different than a standard tent, or was there another reason for the?
Well, I mean, even though the pack size is larger, by doing in the hexagonal or pentagonal shapes, it gives much more space. And like I said, people like it because they like to sit around in a circle and share camp stories. So that's been a big thing of it. It also does a nice job as far as for backyard use and stuff. You can fit a full size picnic table in there, and 4 to 8 people depending on which gazebo you go with.
What is it that I've heard? Is it Michigan that the state bird is a mosquito? I
think it's all up here in the Midwest.
Yeah. I think that might be handy. If you wanted to, if it was nice outside and you wanted to go have a picnic and not have to worry about the mosquitoes.
Right. Exactly. And we've got a proprietary mesh that we use in ours. It's called TriTech. So it's 25% more airflow, which if anybody's used one of our competitors' gazebos or one of our previous models, that in the heat, they retain heat. So, but this one allows the airflow to go through. Plus, it's stronger and it keeps out no-see-ums. So, yeah, it's definitely a nice retreat from the bug infestation we see here in the summers.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's nice just to get outside, especially if it's a nice day. So, how long does it take? Did I read 90 seconds to set up most of these?
Yeah, for the gazebo, it takes 60 because you don't have a Rainfly to install. But for the tents, it's 90 seconds.
So this could be a whim. This could be like that last minute idea for a road trip. You can say, "Hey, let's take lunch outside today," and 60 seconds or so. Even if you're clumsy, it's not going to take you a long time to get that. And I would assume it has some sort of container pack or something that you keep it in.
Yeah. So all of our bags that we use, whether it's the tents or the gazebo, they're oversized. So at the end of the day, when you're packing it up, you're not, it's not it's not like stuffing sausage, right? You can get it in as easy as you took it out.
Yeah. It's like, okay, let's take some pictures so we can get it back in the same shape it was to get it back into the bag.
Some of those, it seems like they sew the bag right around the tent. So there's not a square inch to spare.
3D printer. It's a 3D printed tent bag.
Right.
So what kind of colors do you have? I would assume if they were designed initially for hunting, you probably have some nice matching colors for the outdoors.
Yeah. So in the gazebo lines, we stay pretty neutral in the tans and browns. So you've got a desert sand, which is a nice light kind of beige color in our opening price points. And then we've got a cool top gazebo, which is really unique. It basically has a Rainfly on it. So the thing, again, this is a innovation that other brands haven't done. It's got a gap between the roof, the screened roof, and the Rainfly, so that heat can escape and air can come in. So it really increases the airflow. Plus, by doing a Rainfly, we can seal the seams so it's waterproof. The other thing is the Rainfly runs out past the base of the gazebo, so it'll run water away from the sides.
Mm-hmm. So
and then
go ahead.
That one's in what we call Badlands brown. It's kind of almost like a Carhartt brown. And then we've got another one which is a tandem gazebo. So it's a 6-sided gazebo, but it's two gazebos side by side.
Oh, that's nice.
And that one comes in agave green. And the nice thing about that is the pack size is about 18 inches shorter than the 6-sided gazebo, the hex-shaped one.
I would assume that this is just your basic tent. You can put whatever you want to in it. The ones for ice fishing and stuff don't have a floor, but do the others come with a floor?
Yeah, our tents all have a removable floor. So the idea behind the removable floor is it's easy cleanup. The other thing is that's nice about it in most tents, that's the first thing that's going to go is the floor.
Right.
Because that gets the most wear and tear. If you ever were to put a hole in it and you're out of warranty, you can get a replacement floor and not have to scrap the tent.
Mm-hmm. What kind of warranty are we talking about here?
We have a 1-year warranty. But we carry parts for 10 years past the service date or past the selling date of the tents. So if you would ever, I mean, we have tents that have been out there for 7-8 years now after steady use weekend after weekend, and they're just like the day they put them out, so they last a long time.
Cots, what the hell, the sleeping bags, and I would assume that you guys don't have a line of like inflatable furniture or anything like that, right?
I will say we don't have one yet, but
there we go.
We're constantly working on things.
Oh, I was going to say maybe you were going to give us a little information, something to come up, something that's coming out.
We're constantly working on that type of things, and we should see something here in the relatively near future.
I think that's really handy too, because if you can pack it and it's small, but it makes the in there more comfortable. I mean, you can get those folding chairs and stuff, but sometimes it's nice to have a bit of a cushion.
Yeah. So all of our tents are a little bit over. So people are always saying, what do you 3-person tent, 4-person tent? You can't put 4 people in that tent. Well, what we've done, everybody bases it off industry standard, which is, most people don't fit within that. So ours are actually slightly larger than what industry standard is.
That's a safe way to go.
Sell it back. So yeah.
Us men will order a large and then find out we need an extra large or a 2X large. So being a little bit bigger is saves you some time and expense whenever you're buying things. Just looking at some of the ones here, the really big tents, which I think are cool. What would you say that the big tents are best for? I mean, you don't have to have 8 friends or 6 friends to go camping with you, but I would imagine if you're coming out with a line of furniture type stuff, that would make it very convenient. Maybe a place where you could set up a Coleman stove or where you could actually have room to set things up, especially if you were staying there for 3 days, a week, or 2 weeks.
Yeah, so when you're looking at the tandem tents, you've got a dedicated sleeping area in the back, and then you've got a separation panel that you can zip closed from the front end, and that front end is convertible. You can use it as another sleeping area by putting down the privacy panels, or you can leave them open as like a screen tent for a place to hang out in the afternoon. So it's very versatile from that standpoint. And like I said, it works great for just a couple people going out up to, 6 to 8 people going out, depending on, what you need it for. It's very, like I said, with that convertible screen room, gives you a lot of options.
Have you done any kind of testing in Jeeps to see how much, if there's enough room in a Wrangler? I mean, Gladiator probably is not a bad, not hard because it's got a 5-foot bed on it. But do you have a limit on some of these tents as far as storing it successfully?
Yeah. So these are long pack tents. It's kind of the nature of the beast when you're making something that's already pre-assembled where you can't break poles down to assemble it. So generally what we see people doing is either putting them up on the roof, or if they're just a couple people traveling, they'll drop the back seat down in an SUV or something and slide them in that way.
Okay. And is that for all the tents? All the tents that you sell will fit? Certainly they should fit on top, but
for the most part, yeah. I mean, the gazebos actually get a little longer because it's based off of the longest pole,
right?
And that's the roof pole. And when you're spreading it over that large area, it gets pretty long. But like I said, we've got some models that are out or coming out that are shorter pack lengths. We launched last year the T4 EXP, which will be back in stock here at the end of May, and that one is the size of a T4 or 4-person tent. The original T4 fit in a bag that was 68 inches long. We were able to reconfigure how the poles work and got it down to 58 inches in length. So now that one is much more comparable to what we see a lot of Jeep owners using in the T3X. So they're the same length, but you get, the 10 more inches in headroom, and you get another about 25 square feet in space there.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like the main pole isn't collapsible. So I would think that means that it gives you a lot of strength.
Yeah, so that gives you a lot of strength. It also, like I said, it just makes the assembly that much easier when you're not fishing poles through. You're just popping walls and pushing up the roof hub, and you're ready to go. And then the last thing you do is stake out from the hubs, and you're ready to rock for the weekend.
Yeah, time to take a nap.
Yeah.
So, well, it doesn't sound like it's overly stressful putting up these tents. So you probably don't need a nap for putting the tent up. Although I can imagine there's some tents out there. I think even the pop-up tents can be a little more require a little more effort than what we're talking about here, because these tents are pretty light, right?
Yeah. When we say 90 seconds assembly, that's for one person. So that's the biggest difference from a lot of people that say we got a quick setup. So, I know when you're talking about easy ups and stuff, it does go much easier if you got a second person.
Yeah. So reading between the lines, if that second person is your wife, it could take double that amount of time. Did you read the instructions? What are you doing over there? Are you sure about this?
We always try to guess how many marriages we've saved.
Exactly.
From all the reduced arguing that goes on. So.
Oh, and I was going to ask, so I would assume you use some sort of tent stakes or something to keep this thing down and from blowing away.
Yeah. So with the Overland editions, we use what's called an all-terrain stake. We did research where we grabbed a bunch of different stakes and different geometries and stakes and measured them in all kinds of different base, whether it be sand or wet flash or hard pan. And the stakes that we came up with overall held the best in all those conditions. So you get a really good stake with the Overland Edition tents.
So maybe you've taken this into account, but what do you do when you have the perfect, beautiful camping area and it's all rock? I mean, you really don't have, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's not just a boulder, but the 4 points or the 6 points or whatever you want to tie down to, it's just mostly rock. And I mean, do you have like weighted things that you could put on there?
Well, what we've seen, or what I've done in the past, is what I'll do is I'll take a series of 5-gallon buckets with me, just load them up with the rocks and tie right off to that. And it seems to do quite well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's people out there that have gone camping and tenting and they figure it out. I mean, you find little shrubs and maybe your vehicle, or anything you can do to tie it down where you're necessary. Do you have to have, does the tent have any rigidity by itself, or do you absolutely have to have all the points attached to the ground?
Yeah, I would say that, like I said, if you tie off to the 4 spots on the hubs, that's really all you need. It has some rigidity to it. It's just that, you never know when that renegade wind is going to come through and knock your wall, so.
Yeah, and of course, that's what I'm asking about. Best case scenario or worst case scenario, you want to make sure all the tie down points are tied. Now, you've mentioned the hub a couple of times, and I forgot to ask you. You know what the hell that is. I mean, I know what a hub is. Oh, yeah. But for our audience, what is the hub? Is that like the central point for the gazebo?
Yeah, that's the central point. You have on a standard T4, you have 4 wall hubs and a roof hub. Basically, in each wall, there's 4 poles that are anchored in each corner, and then they go into a central hub, which is right in the center of the wall. They all go in there. When you push it in, the whole thing folds up. When you pop it out, that's when it assembles. So, like I said, it's just a matter of popping things. It's not, like I said, you're not. We've done this at expos where we get the smallest kid that walks by and have him set it up himself, just to show how easy the whole assembly process is. They're 5 and 6 year olds that are popping the walls, and maybe a little help with pushing the roof up, but they can usually do it really easily.
So you mentioned the ability to open up to allow the heat to rise out of the tent. Is that in the center or on the sides, or yes?
So when you pop the roof up, you get a doming effect, and the Rainfly domes over that. So you've got a gap between the screened roof and the Rainfly, and that's where all the airflow comes through.
Yeah. So there's no hurry up and close that up. It's just the gap from the not I want to call it a tarp, but it's not a tarp. But basically, people would understand it. It's like a tarp over the top that lets the rain that flows the rain off the tent itself. So you have an opening between that.
Yeah,
that
and
gap.
by having that gap in between, especially on the tent, it really helps to reduce condensation.
Oh yeah, that makes sense
in the tent. So yeah, like I said, it provides a lot of airflow.
Mm-hmm. How does that work whenever it's really cold outside, or should you be in another tent if you're going to be camping and very cold?
Yeah, that's kind of why we launched the new EXP last year, because that one has an HVAC port, so you can run diesel heat through it, and it also has sealable roof panels. So you can. A lot of people in the summer, they'll take, if it's not going to rain, they'll take the Rainfly off so they can look at the stars at night. But when you're in the colder weather, the EXP works up because you can seal those screen vent panels in the roof to trap heat in.
Right. What is if you have this information, what is the longest that somebody's used the tent? Like one outing has been out there for 30 days or a week.
I've had, we've had some people that we've seen that have taken it on month-long trips up to Alaska or, and just used it every night. And they're still using it today. And I started here, it's going on 8 years now. And I correspond with somebody who's still using the same tent.
Yeah.
And he's using it daily. So,
yeah. So is he traveling around and then breaking down camp and setting it back up, or is it set up and they just kind of do the thing in that general area? How does that work with the 30 days?
He's actually leading people on tours, and he sleeps in the tent while they sleep in his RV. So he's setting it up and taking it out every night as they travel along. So
this has been grizzly bear tested up in Alaska, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I hope not, but
it always scares the hell out of me when you're thinking about camping in a tent. It's just a wrapper, for the goodies that are inside.
Yeah, we're up here in bear country, so we know all about that.
Yeah. I think a lot of people like me. I mean, I think we have some brown bears around here close by, but certainly not in the Houston area. So I think it's like everybody, there's tornadoes down here quite a bit.
Yeah.
And people are always, talking about tornado this, tornado that. They're so scary and so on and so forth. And I'll tell people, I've been here all my life. I've never seen a tornado. I think I've heard them. I think that they've been close by, but they're such a local phenomenon that it's kind of weird if you see one or even get affected by one. And as I always tell people, unless you're living in a mobile home park, you're never going to have a problem with a tornado. So anyway, I think that's the same thing with bears and other animals, that it's more of a concern based on, and especially now with social media and even more so with AI. There's a lot more animal situations than there really is, and altogether. I still like the idea of having a 50 caliber handgun with me just to say hello. There's. Do you think it's better to have a bright colored tent or a neutral colored tent? I like the neutral style up until the helicopter's looking for me for some reason.
Yeah. I guess there's theories out there about attracting pests and stuff like that with brighter colors and stuff, but I think it comes down to preference and what you're using it for. If there's some people that like the bright colors just so they don't lose their spot and they can see their campsite from a ways away, and there's other ones that like to blend in with nature, and so we offer a little variety of colors in the tents that we sell.
Mm-hmm. Yep. A friend of mine, I think it was Chris that you had dealt with to get the interview set up here. Chris was telling me that the Gazelle tents are very well known as quality tents, and if you want a good tent, that's what you should get.
Yeah, we've done a lot of work, and over the past few years, we've loosened up our return policies over. Well, it was pretty much first when I started here. We try to take care of our customers best we can, and the thing over the last few years, what we've seen is that our quality rates have gone up, returns have gone down. So I think we're in the sweet spot. That's not to say things wouldn't happen, because the size of these tents, there's still a lot of hand sewing that goes on, and there's things that can happen. But our customer service is right on premise with us here. So if you call in, there's somebody there that's going to answer and help you out with any issues that you have. Mm-hmm.
This is a good time to mention the website again, GazelleTents.com, GazelleTents.com, GazelleTents.com. So I was going to ask you earlier, we were talking about putting the tents on top of the Jeep or the vehicle, whatever you're driving. And obviously the bags are waterproof and you don't have to worry about anything, the tent being damaged or getting water in the bag because they're made to survive weather.
Yeah, so our bags are seam sealed on the Overland Edition. Our bags are seam sealed. They have a zipper cover to stop any egress in through the zipper. They also have an external stake pouch, so you're not putting dirty stakes in with your clean tent.
Good. Yeah.
So yeah, and like I said, being oversized and stuff like that, they tend to if you want to stuff more in there, you got some room. So.
Mm-hmm. Now, I would assume, and not everybody assumes this, especially people that haven't, they like the idea of going outside, they like the idea of having a tent, but the tent is really just the starting point because you really need a lot of support stuff. We were talking about furniture, chairs, the diesel heater, if you're in that environment, but maybe a place to use the bathroom because they make stand-up things. You guys don't have any facilities for that, do you?
We do have a privacy tent that is coming out in June. It's going to be a premium model. It's extra tall, so there's plenty of headroom in there when you're showering. It's extra big, so room for the shower and the bathroom in there. And then the other thing is it's got Rainfly on it, which a lot of them don't. And again, it's got that gap in there, so. I don't know how to say it. Smells can.
Yeah, I think methane is a light gas. So anything. I was going to ask you if it came with a little pouch for matches.
Yeah, it comes with a lot. It comes with a lot of bags. Whatever you put in there, that's up to you.
Oh, that's good. I like that because that way you could have washcloth, soap, shampoo, that type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's
and I know you can buy these things several places, but if you're like me, it's nice to go to one place, one-stop shop.
Yeah, it's and like I said, we'll be sending out all the details on it here very soon, but it is really well built. I'm very impressed with what our engineers have come up with. It's one of the feature for feature. I don't think there's many out there like it.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to have a shower system or just a place where you could take the shower?
Right now, it's just that there's a lot of systems out there and a lot of really good ones. So we're just providing the shelter for it.
Right.
And again, this is a pop-up shelter. So it's about a 90-second assembly.
So if you have the desire, I think you've probably seen the same things I've seen where there's some house on a mountain and the bathroom has this top to bottom wall so that you can sit on the toilet and look out. Your setup's not like that. I mean, a nice gazebo pop-up for your bathroom would be nice.
Yeah. Well, I don't, it depends on how comfortable you are. You can probably leave the door open and do that.
There you go. I just was thinking about the gazebo aspect because this is kind of smaller and, you sit there and have all the windows open for the neighbors.
Right.
Okay, so as I was saying, you start with a tent, but then you have the other things that you use to support that. So now we've got a bathroom, a shower. Not that you can take the shower. There's no shower accessories for that, but something that you can hook one of the showers up to it. And so a place to stay, a place to sleep, a place to with other people. I would assume it would be great to have company over. I think the most fun, and this is certainly true when you go off-road in a Jeep, you want to have other Jeepers with you. It's a safety thing, and also, too, it's just fun to share that experience with other people. So, I could see that it would be neat. And also, too, I'll just mention this. Everybody's aware of this, but I'll just mention this. The cool thing is talking about your equipment. Because somebody's going to have something and they're going to notice something that you have on that Gazelle tent and go, who made this tent? Where'd you get this thing from? So then you have that little bit of pride that you made a good decision.
For sure. Yeah. It really is a community. We see people out there, traveling in packs, and they'll have 10 T4 set up in their campsite. So it really has become a community out there of Gazelle owners. Mm-hmm.
Just to recap a little bit, you have tents that are really good for general weather, hot weather and stuff. But if you're going to go really cold weather, I was going to ask that earlier. For the cold weather tents, what is the coldest that you guys recommend? And I know it depends, but
yeah, we just launched a line called the Backcountry, and this one did take some cues from what we do with our ice fishing shelters. And so it's got the normal screen windows in it, but those can be either replaced or just covered with vinyl windows, again, to up the R factor. Plus, you have the ability we've got a stove jack that you can get if you want to do a wood burning stove inside.
And that's like the hole, the insulated hole that you can run the stove exhaust through?
Yeah, so this one actually runs out the window. So you angle it just under the Rainfly, and you can burn wood in there and keep it. It gets really toasty. We've tested that out here, and the weather we get up here sometimes 20 below or worse, and we've had it out there, and it warms up nicely. The other big thing that we do, like I said, and I hate to keep going back to our Rainfly design, but the way it works on a cold weather tent, if you get snow or a lot of snow, that gap between the roof and the Rainfly doesn't let the Rainfly get warm, so it's not going to melt the snow and cause ice dams on your roof. Oh, yeah. It allows the snow just to run off because it's cooler than the roof below it.
So it's a Friday afternoon, maybe around 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There's a major snowstorm coming in, and the boss, the CEO, sends out an email. Okay, we need somebody to go out and test the tent this weekend. That would,
you know what, he would have a ton of volunteers.
I was just going to say that probably wouldn't be too bad. It's not like having that TPS report in by Monday.
Yeah, when you look at the crew that we have assembled here, they are all outdoorsmen, all year long. Whatever the season, whatever the occasion, they're out there in the wild. We're up here in northern Wisconsin. It's just absolutely beautiful up there in the North Woods. So we got a lot of good sites and a lot of good areas to go and explore. So
let me ask you this: you're in Wisconsin. You gotta the guys definitely get cold up there. When you're using the tent in the wintertime, I would assume. Damn it! I forgot exactly where I was going with this now. I'm thinking about being in Wisconsin out, and actually I'm thinking about everybody goes on and on about cheese, the cheese curds and stuff in Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're probably about 30 miles from the biggest cheese curd manufacturer in the country.
Yeah.
Ellsworth, and we were actually in Flagstaff, and some guy goes, "I got a delicacy from Wisconsin." He goes, "Ellsworth cheese curds. I bet you've never heard of them." And I go, "Yeah, they're just down the road from us."
All right. Well, I've lost that one. It was probably the best question I would have ever asked if I could just remember it.
Probably.
This is the problem with paying attention. If you don't pay attention, you can remember what the questions are that you're going to ask. All right. You know how, and I'll remember this before we get done. You know how the kids love the social media. How can people follow you guys along on the social media?
Yeah, we've got a Gazelle Tents Facebook page. We're on Instagram. And if anybody ever has any questions, we're up all hours of the night answering people. So just feel free to reach out there, or contact us through our customer service chain at info@gazelletents.com, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. All
right. So we've got viewers that are absolutely in love with the tent, but they'd like to see it and touch it and get a good feel for it, before buying. Is there a way? What's the best way for them to look at the tent?
Yeah, well, we attend all the Overland expos. We just got back from SoCal here in March. We're going to be in Flagstaff in May, Portland and Redmond, Oregon, and June. I'm trying to remember all of them. Loveland, Colorado in August, and then
they can probably go to your site and see where you're going to be, right?
Virginia. Yeah, Arrington, Virginia in October. But if REI carries our tents, so if you're near an REI, just pop in there and take a look. And we're gathering more retailers all the time. So
excellent. Yeah, it's fun. Do you guys ever go to EJS or SEMA?
We haven't. We've looked into it, but I run 6 other divisions in the hunting and camping area, so it beyond the hunting shows and all that stuff, time is kind of a of a premium. So.
Oh yeah, I can well imagine. But do you guys have other divisions that do other things besides tents, or is it just tents for the hunting?
Yeah, we actually have 15 brands in our
Wow.
portfolio. Wow. And anything you can do up here in the North Woods of Wisconsin, we pretty much do, all the way down to chicken pluckers.
So you got your hands on all this stuff then. That's got to be a really interesting
Yeah.
job.
Oh, it is. It is. Yeah, for sure.
How many wonderful ideas do you get, and then you have to kind of act like, yeah, that sounds good. We'll look into that. Kind of like whenever the kid wants something at the store, and you say, yeah, let's we'll see.
To be honest, the way Gazelle really took off was actually just that, listening to what the customers are saying, and we incorporate a lot of those ideas into the products. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't happen overnight because our engineering group, they try everything, test it out, make sure it's perfectly good before it's launched. But a lot of our best ideas come from the people that are actually using it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's wonderful. All right. Well, I think that we've had a really good conversation here. I think a good tent is something that you really want to start with. And it doesn't sound like this would be a bad tent to start with. You may stay with the brand and get bigger tents and bigger tents, depending on how much fun you have doing it. And the great thing is that it doesn't cost you a lot of money, like getting an RV or a pop-up tent that you got to bolt onto your vehicle, and then you have to take it off for some things and put it back on for other things. So I think everybody ought to have a good tent. You never know when you're going to have to bug out.
yeah, for sure, yeah.
Oh, was COVID a big help for you guys? Because being cooped up, I could well imagine that getting out and away from the stresses of being under lockdown would be a good thing.
Yeah, it was very good. It got us well known in the industry and stuff like that. And the other thing is that our gazebos that we talked about earlier make a great outdoor office. We see people
get the hell
with
out of
their
the
whole
house.
Desk and computers set up in there and just hanging out outside. Yeah. And
do you guys encourage the customers to send in pictures like that? Put it up on Instagram?
Oh yeah.
Did you mention Instagram earlier?
We always use our customer pictures. In fact, the person who does our content for us, that's how she started out. Was she sent in a few pictures, and I said, "You ever thought about doing this professionally?" And she's just knocked it out of the park.
That's neat. That's really cool. Yeah, you never know. Get out there, share things, and some people might really enjoy it. And you may go from the comfortable life to working the 9 to 5. But I think working at home on social media is pretty fun. All right, Rob, thank you so much for being here, and we'll have to get you back on when you get new products out so we can update everybody on what you got. So what do you guys think about the Gazelle Tents? Have you been over there to gazelletents.com and had a look? Maybe you've gone to, what was it, REI that you said that
REI
have these tents? So go have a look and let us know what you think. Thanks again, Rob.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the time.
You're my friend. You're my new friend.